Hey everyone! Welcome to the Bold and Beautiful 24. I'm Alessio, and I'm so excited to have you here. If you love Bold and Beautiful, then you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Alright, let's dive right in. Grace takes a cryptic phone call as she releases Liam into Bill's care. Today on The Bold and the Beautiful, Deacon calls Sheila a hero. Finn and Bridget are left questioning Grace's decisions, and Hope and Steffi receive some unexpected good news. The soft hum of the machines was the only sound in the private clinic room as Dr. Grace Buckingham turned to face Bill Spencer. Her expression was calm, but the weight of the past few days was clearly etched into her eyes. "The surgery was incredibly risky, Bill," Grace began, speaking with the measured tone of someone who had faced high stakes before. "But against the odds, we managed to pull it off. Liam's stable now. With time, I believe he'll make a full recovery." Bill stood stiffly, staring at her as if trying to process each word in slow motion. Before he could respond, another doctor rolled Liam's bed out of the room, heading toward radiology for a follow-up MRI. Grace turned back to Bill, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "I know this sounds sudden, but we're actually ready to release him into your care," she said gently. Bill blinked. "Wait, what? You're telling me he can go home with me today? Are you serious?" Grace nodded, though she knew how unbelievable it sounded. "This wasn't some routine wisdom tooth removal," Bill said, half laughing in disbelief. "You can't just discharge him like it's nothing." "I get how strange it seems," Grace replied patiently. "But given the experimental nature of the procedure and the circumstances surrounding it, we agreed that it's safer for Liam to recover outside a public facility." She moved toward a clipboard and began reviewing documents. "There will be a dedicated nurse assigned to care for him 24/7 at your house. The ambulance will transport him shortly. Everything's already been arranged." Bill studied her carefully. "You're absolutely sure he's ready to be moved?" "I wouldn't be telling you this if I wasn't," she said with confidence. "He'll be in good hands." At the hospital, Finn and Bridget question everything. Meanwhile, back at the hospital, Finn paced beside Bridget in a quiet corridor just outside the nurse's station. His brow was furrowed as he struggled to make sense of the news he'd just received. "Liam was released?" Finn asked, clearly baffled. Bridget nodded, flipping through notes on her tablet. "Yes. Dr. Buckingham personally signed the release papers." Finn ran a hand through his hair in frustration. "But he just had surgery. An experimental one. And he still has a gunshot wound. How could she possibly think it was a good idea to send him home?" "There must be more to the story," Bridget said slowly, though even she looked unsure. "Grace is one of the most brilliant minds in her field. I want to believe she made the right call." Finn let out a sharp breath, staring into the distance. "I want to believe that too. But I need answers. I can't just sit back and accept this." Bridget gently touched his arm. "I understand. But maybe give her the benefit of the doubt, until we know more." "I need to update Steffi," Finn muttered. "She's not going to take this well." Steffi and Hope get the news. At Forrester Creations, Steffi sat across from Hope, her expression tense. "I haven't heard a word from Finn," Steffi said, her phone resting in her palm as if she were willing it to ring. "I just want to know what's going on with Liam." Hope looked equally worried. "Deacon said Sheila's back home, recovering. She lost another toe," she said quietly. Steffi hesitated before replying. "As crazy as it sounds, I actually feel kind of grateful to Sheila." Hope tilted her head in surprise. "Seriously? She did protect Finn at the beach house," Steffi murmured. "And now Liam, he's still alive. But none of this is fair to him. He doesn't deserve any of this." They fell silent for a moment before Steffi added, "What do we even say to the girls? How long are we supposed to keep pretending everything's okay, when their dad could be dying?" Just then, Steffi's phone buzzed. She quickly answered. "Finn." "Yeah, I'm with Bridget," Finn replied. "You're on speaker." Hope leaned in, and they both listened closely. Finn took a breath. "Liam's been released into Bill's care." "What?" Steffi exclaimed. "Who signed off on that?" It was Dr. Buckingham, he replied. Deacon calls Sheila a hero. Over at Il Giardino, Sheila sat at a cozy corner table with a blanket draped over her lap and a tray of tea and cookies in front of her. The restaurant staff buzzed around, fussing over her comfort. Moments later, Deacon arrived, beaming, holding a bouquet of pink roses. "For my eight-toed goddess," he said playfully, giving her a kiss on the cheek. Sheila rolled her eyes but smiled. "You're too much, Deacon." "Just trying to take care of my beautiful wife," he said, gently guiding her leg up onto a chair. "Keep that foot elevated." "It's not my first rodeo," she teased. As Deacon stepped away to speak to a waiter, Sheila's expression shifted. Her mind flashed to the violent scene at the beach house, the gunshot, the chaos, and the image of Liam on the floor. When Deacon returned, she quietly asked, "Have you heard anything else about Liam?" He shook his head. "Not since this morning." Sheila looked down, her voice barely above a whisper. "I still can't believe she's gone. My granddaughter." Deacon pulled up a chair and sat beside her. "Luna didn't give you much choice. She took advantage of your love for her, and it almost got you killed." "She shot you, Sheila." "She didn't mean to hurt me," Sheila insisted. "All I wanted was to convince Steffi to let me be in Finn's life. I wasn't trying to cause harm." Deacon reached for her hand. "You were protecting your family. You did what you had to. Whether they admit it or not, you're a hero." "I doubt Steffi would ever agree," Sheila said, eyes glistening. "But thank you. I just hope Liam pulls through." "He will," Deacon said with certainty. "And it means something that you're still thinking about him after everything you've endured." Sheila squeezed his hand. "You didn't lose me, Deacon. I'm still right here." He leaned in, pressing a kiss to her lips. "Bill expresses gratitude, but Grace has secrets." Back at the clinic, Bill stood at Liam's bedside, his anxiety still etched in every line of his face. He looked over at Grace, who was now packing up some documents. "Is the transfer done?" she asked quietly. Bill nodded. "Yes." "The full amount? $1 million. It's all been wired." Grace gave a small smile and excused herself to take a call. Moving to a private corner, she answered in a low voice. "Yes, don't worry, it's happening now," she said. "I can't talk long." She ended the call quickly and returned just as Liam was wheeled back into the room, still unconscious from the procedure. Bill rushed to his side, grasping his son's hand. "You did it, Liam. You made it," he said, eyes misty. Grace returned to the room and gave Bill a soft smile. "The MRI results will take some time, but in the meantime, you're free to take him home." Bill turned to her, his voice thick with emotion. "Thank you. I don't even know how to express what this means. I'm so grateful." Grace nodded, though her eyes flickered with something unreadable as she stepped away once more. Word spreads, but not everyone's on board. Back at the hospital, Bridget's phone rang. She stepped into a quieter hallway to answer, expecting another routine update, but instead, her face fell. "What do you mean she's not in the building?" she asked the nurse on the other end. "Dr. Buckingham isn't here?" The nurse confirmed it. Bridget ended the call and returned to where Finn was waiting. Grace left. "She's not even here anymore." Before Finn could respond, Steffi and Hope hurried into the corridor. "We came as soon as we could," Hope said, slightly breathless. "What's going on? Did something happen with Liam?" Finn motioned for them to join him as he filled them in. "He's been discharged. He's on his way home with Bill." "What?" Steffi looked stunned. "I called Bill 15 times. He hasn't answered once." "We don't have much more information than that," Finn admitted. "All we know is what the nurse told Bridget. Liam's gone." At Bill's estate, a new kind of recovery. Back at Bill's home, the ambulance had already come and gone, and Liam now lay in a hospital-style bed set up in one of the guest rooms. Monitors beeped softly beside him. A nurse moved quietly around the room, checking vitals, adjusting medications, and noting everything on her clipboard. Bill stood by the doorway, watching silently. He cleared his throat. "Thank you for helping him get settled." The nurse offered a warm smile. "Of course. His vitals are stable." I'll go over the MRI results with you as soon as they're uploaded. Bill nodded, staying behind as she stepped out. Once they were alone, he moved to his son's bedside, gently brushing a hand along Liam's arm. "You're home now," he whispered. "We did it." There was a long pause, and then, barely noticeable, Liam stirred. His head shifted ever so slightly, a faint groan escaping his lips. Bill's heart leapt. "Liam," he said, leaning in closer. Liam's eyes fluttered, and though he didn't fully wake, it was enough to make Bill fumble for his phone, immediately calling Steffi. Hope, Steffi, Finn, and Bridget get the call. Back at the hospital, Steffi's phone finally rang. She checked the screen and let out a sigh of relief. "It's Bill." She answered immediately. "Bill? Are you aware that Liam's been discharged?" "Where is he?" "I know," Bill replied calmly. "He's with me. He's home." Hope and Bridget leaned in, listening as Finn put the call on speaker. "Bill," Finn said, "we're all here with Steffi. We need answers. What's going on?" Bill hesitated for a moment. "I can't get into all the details right now. But Liam had surgery earlier today. It was an experimental procedure. Dr. Buckingham handled it, along with a colleague from overseas. She said it might be his only real shot at survival." Hope's eyes widened. "Did it work?" Bill looked over at Liam, whose breathing had grown stronger since the moment he arrived. "It's too soon to know for sure. But Grace believes it went well enough that he didn't need to stay in the clinic. He's here, and he's fighting." "You're telling me Liam had brain surgery today, and he's at your house right now?" Finn asked, stunned. "Yes," Bill said firmly. "He's strong, and he's not giving up. We have to believe this will work." Steffi exchanged a hopeful look with Hope, then turned back to the phone. "So you really think there's a chance he could survive?" Bill's voice cracked just a little. "Yes, I believe he will." He ended the call, and for the first time in days, there was silence between the four of them, hopeful silence. Steffi exhaled slowly, her hand instinctively reaching for Hope's. "Maybe, just maybe, our girls won't have to grow up without their father." Back at the Spencer estate, a father's promise. The house was quiet now except for the faint sound of Liam's heart monitor. Bill sat at his son's bedside, gripping his hand tightly. "I don't care what it takes," he said softly. "I'd go to hell and back for you, Liam. For you and your brothers. I don't care how many enemies I have to face, how many risks I need to take." He leaned in closer. "You're going to beat this. You hear me? You're going to be cured." Liam's fingers twitched, just slightly, but enough to convince Bill he'd heard him. The nurse returned with a folder in hand. "Preliminary MRI results just came in. I'll go over them with you shortly." Bill nodded, his eyes never leaving Liam. "Thank you." Grace's mystery call raises alarms. Back at the clinic, a different kind of tension was brewing. One of the nurses had quietly shared with Bridget that Dr. Buckingham had been acting oddly all day, fielding calls she wouldn't discuss, stepping out during key moments of the procedure, and leaving without telling anyone. Bridget sat with Finn in the break room. "I don't like this," she said, shaking her head. "Why did she leave without informing us? Why the secrecy? And who was she talking to?" Finn tapped a pen anxiously against the table. "It's starting to feel like there's more going on here than we realize." Deacon and Sheila reflect on loyalty and loss. Later that evening, back at Il Giardino, Deacon walked Sheila to the car, arm around her waist. The sun had started to set, casting golden light across the parking lot. "Are you sure you're okay?" he asked again. "I'm more worried about Liam," she admitted. "I feel like I should be doing something, helping somehow." "You've already done more than enough," Deacon said. "You stood your ground at the beach house. You made sure Finn was safe. That matters." She looked at him, her expression soft. "You really think I'm a hero?" "I know you are," he replied without hesitation. "And someday, maybe the others will realize it too." Sheila smiled faintly, her heart aching in a way she didn't expect. "I just wish things could have been different with Luna." Deacon pulled her in for a hug. "You did the best you could. That has to count for something."